Hi, boys and girls, Dr. D here. Last week we did Ben's trumpet and we practiced drawing a trumpet. We're going to continue the theme of musical instruments today with another book called The Remarkable Farkle McBride.
Okay.
The Remarkable Farkle McBride. Oh, pity the prodigy, Farkle McBride. No matter what instrument poor Farkle tried, whether strumming or blowing or drumming or bowing, his musical passions were unsatisfied. When Farkle McBride was a 3-year-old tyke, all freckly, bony, and thin, he astonished his friends and his family alike by playing superb violin. He went reedle-dee, deedle-dee, deedle-dee-dee, with all of the strings at his side. Reedle-dee, deedle-dee, deedle-dee, the remarkable Farkle McBride. But when he was 4, Farkle played it no more. In spite of his parents' beseeching, he shattered the records he used to adore. He smashed up his resin, ripped up every score. He threw fiddle and bow to the living room floor as he shouted, "Enough of your screeching!" When Farkle was 5, his melodical gift once again bore rhapsodical fruit. The woodwinds inspired his spirits to lift, and he rapidly mastered the flute. He went roodle-tee, toodle-tee, toodle-tee-too, with all of the winds at his side. Roodle-tee, toodle-tee, toodle-tee-too, the remarkable Farkle McBride. But at 6, Farkle flung his flute into the lake, notwithstanding its lyrical trill. He stamped on the dock till you'd think it would break. "That's it," he exclaimed. "I've had all I can take. That tootling gives me a brutal headache. It's so wimpy and whiny and shrill." When Farkle was 7, a different sound rekindled his musical flame. He became the most expert trombonist around, and the boulevards buzzed with his name. He went vroom, petty, doom, with all of the brass at his side. Vroom, petty, doom, the remarkable Farkle McBride. But at 8, he declared to his parents' despair, and as everyone else might have guessed, "I can't stand the trombone with its blat and its blare. That racket is more than my eardrums can bear, so return it or throw it away. I don't care. I despise it, just like all the rest." When Farkle was 9, both his father and mum were bursting with pride and affection, for Farkle learned xylophone, cymbals, and drum, the entire percussion section. He went boom, bash, clang-a-ma-clash, all the clamor that he could provide. Tinkly, bing-bong, bumpity-crash, the remarkable Farkle McBride. But soon he fell prey to his usual gloom, despite all the praise and the flattery. First a sigh, then a sulk, then a frown, then a fume, then an ear-splitting tantrum that emptied the room. "I can't take it," he bellowed, the crash and the boom, and the clang and the bang of the battery. Poor Farkle at 10, howsoever renowned, reached the end of his musical tether, but then he discovered his favorite sound. Musicians all playing together. It happened like this. The conductor caught cold on the day of a major recital. "You've got to replace him," young Farkle was told. "Your cooperation is vital." So he took the baton and he gave the downbeat, and kaboom, the foundations were shaken by glorious music, bombastic and sweet, that filled up the hall and spilled into the street. Music that brought the whole crowd to its feet from the instruments he had forsaken. They went roodle-dee, roodle-too, vroom, petty bang. "Bravo!" all the spectators cried. "Diddly, doodly, doom, petty clang, the remarkable Farkle McBride." Since that sparkling night, Maestro Farkle McBride conducts all the instruments he ever tried. His happy heart sings to brass, drums, winds, and strings. And remarkable Farkle's at last satisfied. Well, boys and girls, You remember that we drew a trumpet last week and zigzag lines from the Zigzag Jazz Club. Now, we didn't talk about this last week, but the trumpet is part of the brass family. So I thought today, after reading Farkle McBride, that we could draw a few more instruments that Farkle played and talk about what families they belong to. The first instrument, of course, you recognize is the drum, and the drum is part of the percussion family, and there's lots of other instruments that are part of the percussion family, the xylophone and the bells, the cymbals. In fact, there's a point in the book where you see Farkle's head between the cymbals out of frustration. So let's start with the drums. All right, this drum would be probably the kind of drum that you would see a young person carrying in a parade in a marching band. So we begin with 2 straight lines, and then just put a little hook at the bottom, and then another straight line, and bring these lines together, and there we go. All right, now we're going to put a rim on the drum, so we'll go around, and we're going to leave a little space here to draw the drumsticks. So, okay, and then you can outline that with black crayon or magic marker or dark pencil. Color in the drumsticks. And we'll give it a little bit of design. Now, I normally don't have you do writing, but I think for today, it would be good if you write the word drum, and underneath it, write the word percussion family. Instruments in the percussion family are instruments that you strike or shake or scrape. So the drum is part of the percussion family. Okay, now, if you remember, Farkle McBride played a trombone and it ended up in the garbage can. So let's start with the trombone next. And the trombone is like the trumpet. It also belongs to the brass family. So we're going to start first with the body of the trumpet. All right, and then another line underneath it, parallel. Okay, and then we'll make the mouth of the trumpet. Okay? All right, now the trumpet winds around because it has a slide. So we're going to bring this line all the way past the bell. All right, and double it up. And then we're going to bring it back down for the slide. And put a mouthpiece on it. Okay? Here's some hardware that connects the trombone. Okay, a little bit more hardware right here. And then you can, again, outline it in black pencil or magic marker. Now, if you'd like to color your trombone, it is the color of gold. It's one of the brass instruments. So perhaps an orange crayon would work, or orange with yellow mixed with it. Okay, and I would like you to write the word trombone. And like the trumpet, the trombone is part of the brass family. The brass family are the loudest instruments. Well, percussion can be very loud too, but the brass families definitely are very loud instruments. Okay, now you remember he also played the flute, and the flute ended up in the bottom of the pond. So let's draw the flute. To start out with the flute, we'll draw a straight line. And then we'll put our bell, color it in. Okay, and then there's a some hardware here, kind of a curved line, and then the flute mouthpiece is like that, okay? And then there's lots of holes in the flute that are covered by the player, and depending on what combinations of holes are covered, that's how different pitches are created. Okay, and then we'll outline that. All right, flute, although it's a wind instrument, it is part of what's called the woodwind family. Now that name comes from the fact that many of these instruments, when they were first created, were made of wood. So initially the flute was made of wood. Today it's made of metal because it needs to sound over the whole orchestra. But initially it was made of wood, and you blow your wind, your air, into the instrument to create sound. So flute is part of the woodwind family. Boys and girls, please send me photos of your artwork. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. This is Dr. D. Thanks. Bye-bye.